Welcome everyone to another live race review for Dark Helmet Racing League Season 9, Round 4. We're at Laguna tonight, and I forgot to hit live, so let's go through the few that we had in the sprint. Okay, so I've already gone through all these. The majority of our incidents tonight are all just self spins for the sprint here, so let's quickly go through them. All the rejoins on these were fine. Okay, and the only one that I had anything action on is this one. And if we go to here, it's an unsafe rejoin. Just watch the Mustang coming up here. Had to take avoiding action to avoid that, so that's the only one for the sprint. So let's get into the feature. At the end here of the sprint, actually, it was one more, but this is just a racing incident between these two. This car runs wide, loses it, comes across the track, hits the other car. So, racing incident. That's our sprint. So let's do a live one of the actual race here. I believe that one was a racing incident between those two. Early checkup wasn't expected. And I doubt there's going to be any redress because he's in the middle of a quite extensive battle up here. But he does get spun himself, but this is going to be avoidable contact and a 2.5. This is fairly optimistic of an attempt. This driver was already sitting like a car width off the outside of the track here, kind of trying to make it so that they're not that interested in going down the inside. But if we roll it forward, just kind of drives into the back of them. So it'll be a 2.5 to the number 13 here. No action. I'll apply it to this one. Wrong button. The driver of the 13. That one, and then what happens here? We got a blinker, and the blinker hit him. So net code is hard to, when a car's blinking out like this, it will predict all sorts of weird stuff. Also, when a car is not visible to another car, it's hard to predict a penalty. I don't know what to do here. So you would have been able to see him hopefully there. And I don't know what everyone can see as well. This is just my feed. But I feel like the 13 could have left more space there and ended up spinning themselves. But it's hard to predict what's going on here, so I'm just gonna leave it. If you want to place a protest and you have any better view, just please do so. I can only go with what I can see here, and cars blinking out. It's hard to to say exactly what everyone can see. I'll just leave this one as noted between these two. I can't see anything. Me just got too deep. Bit of brakes on the turn in, and around it goes. No action there. This move's hard to pull off if they can really get fully up alongside, so to make it actually work, they do leave just enough room for each other. I'm inclined to leave this one as a racing incident. I don't feel either of them really was the main contributor, and the Porsche here just kind of pinched down really tight and ends up spinning on it. Maybe a little net code there too. It's hard to tell. I'm going to leave this one as a racing incident, and Nathan ends up spinning, I think. Yep. So, racing incident for Troy. Let's make sure the rejoin for Nathan's okay, which I'm sure it is. Keeps it out of the tire wall. Whoa. Okay, maybe it's not. Let's go to cockpit here. Yeah. That's going to be a 2.5 unsafe rejoin. So, message. Driver. Eight zero. And that's improper rejoin, which is our 2.5 version. That is the spreadsheet. Okay. There. Okay. Action. Again. Did click the different incident, right? There it is. It's the sausage curve on the inside, bounces as it's been. Chase, everything's fine. Except for the car. William. Jump into this one. Oh, never mind. To the wrong one. This William one is the one I wanted. Now, I feel like what's happening here is because this car is being lapped, this is trying to let them by, but on the racing line, on the brakes into a corner, and it catches Troy here by surprise. But it is Troy's obligation to make the pass safely and not just crash into the back of the car in front. But that was if the car in front is doing predictable things. So the breaking point here is usually about between the 2 and the 3. Actually, around the 2 closer, and you can see this braking at 3. I think quite severely at 3. So let's go back a car, because there's 2 cars behind this. Just see if the closing distance is the same. Yeah. I would say that William here braked her hard and early, so let's watch where this Porsche brakes between the 2 and the 3. So I think that's what's happening here. I'm going to leave this one as a racing incident, but there's so many factors to this. There's a driver braking on racing line to let another car pass by looks, and then a car not reacting to that and crashing to the back of them. But it's unpredictable. If you're letting a car pass, be as predictable as possible. Braking into a corner on racing line and giving them the apex is probably not one of the best moves you could do. Letting the pass happen going up this straight would have been the better move. Let's leave that as a racing incident. This one. For one, the outburst is going to be something. So we'll get to that one in a minute. I'm going to turn that off for a second. So how did he get alongside? Well, it's from the previous incident. Let's go to far chase. And is everyone leaving enough space? I would say with the trajectory of this car, he was going to the curb here, not leaving space. So this contact is actually on the 8. So the outburst is going to be something, and the contact is on yourself. So first, the outburst, I'm just going to do as not within the penalty here. Also, this doesn't actually come as a 4X towards Troy here. It's only towards Sean, but it might actually be still on a time delay from Troy's previous 4X from the previous corner, because iRacing does delay it, so doesn't mean it didn't give a 4X. Actually, they would have given Sean a 4X too, so that's incorrect. Driver number 8. Chat abuse, which is a 5 point. So we don't swear, we don't call people out, we don't do any of that stuff on the radio. It's been a rule since day 1 of DHRL, and we don't allow it. So this one, straight away, it's 5 points. For the incident on the 8, is it like penalizable, or is it like a very minor contact? Yeah, you can see Troy almost loses it here, but he keeps it under control, and the 8 loses it more so. I'm not inclined to give a penalty for this because it's on his own and affected only him. So it's like penalizing somebody for spinning. I'm not going to do that. So if you feel like it wants to be penalized or you want it reviewed further, please put in a protest. But that's the way I'm going to leave it right now, is a racing incident. Okay, let's get through the next one. Action. So, very similar accident to what we just had a moment ago with lifting and braking unpredictably. So I think Doug here is letting Sean by, but this straight is not somewhere where you'd be expecting somebody to brake or lift. So caught Sean off guard into the back of Doug here. There was another outburst by Sean, but I'm just going to leave it at the 5, and that's his lesson for tonight. But Doug here, he can't just slam on the brakes and when a car's pretty much right behind you. The better move here, if you do want to let them by, is to the outside, not the inside, because generally the line can be kept fairly tight here for the fast guys. So if you run out wide, it would have been a nice easy down the inside and gone for that car, and you would have just had a lift for that one. So I'm gonna say it's a 2.5 avoidable contact to Doug for braking very unpredictably to let the other car go by, causing the contact. Is there anything more to this? Okay. They didn't drive into each other, which you could see. Until now. That was uncalled for. I don't know why he had to do that. And then, like, by being like that, you just impacted somebody else's race. So this is going to be another 5. Intentional contact is not something, even as minor as this looks, it's not something that we want to have in these races. So, John, message, driver of the 8, and we're pretty strict on avoidable contact when it's basically do a avoidable contact major. I'm just going to do reckless driving, which is our first one ever, I believe. That's going to go in. So 10 points is our limit for you to get a penalty at the start of the next race, and you got 10 points in one race. So the sprint race, next race, you have a drive-through to be served at the end of lap 1. From that, Doug is also going to get 2.5 here for avoidable contact for the original incident. The reason why the other one wasn't was it was much less egregious than this. This was a pretty hard braking in a place where no braking is normally needed at that portion of the track, where the other one was in the braking zone. That's why they're different. Okay. Try to get finished up here. He did have damage, but he drove sideways. He could easily go straight. He was already proving he could go straight. So that's why it is the way it is. Action on one. Having a moment and almost taking Phil with him. There. Actually, Phil got a 4x from that. Bill was very lucky. Something tells me that Springer had something go wrong in the pits. Otherwise, I don't know why he would have done that. He get tires or something? No. Did he speed? Yes. No? Maybe? Turn on black flags. Let's see if he's got a black flag. Yep. He got a black flag leaving the pits. That's why that. So, probably speeding in the pits. Got a black flag just for turning the speed limiter off. I believe it's very weird, these cones. I feel like it changed. It even caught me out a little bit in the feature. I feel like in practice, it was here, and it was like blue cones. But for some reason in the race right now, let's go back to camera. You can actually see. I feel like this was the line, but this cone is now way up here, and I feel like this became the pit limit line up here. Or he let go of it here and got it before that line. Looks like that cone is supposed to be the limiter, which I feel like changed between practice and the race. There. Nathan having a was carrying a bit too much speed in there. A bit too much on the nose. Around it goes. Alright, that's it. So we definitely have a penalty at the start of the next sprint that one driver has to do. At their next sprint race they ever do, they'll have to do that penalty. That's it for tonight. Next week, we are at where? We'll find out. Sunday, we are at Spa, which should be awesome. Looks like it's an evening session. We start at 4 p.m., so it shouldn't go dark, I don't think, but it will be in the late afternoon. And then on Tuesday, if you guys are around, we are doing the GR86 at Red Bull Ring, which should be a lot of fun. Should be a draft pack racing there, so it should be really, really fun. So if you are available, please come out. If not, I will see you guys on the Sunday for our next race. Thanks, everyone. Yep.